Coming up in the Michigan Football Report, we're talking Dylan McCaffrey. Is the door still open for a return to the Michigan football team this season? We'll have that story to start the show. After that, Nico Collins, Ambry Thomas. Could the senior stars that opted out of the football program a couple weeks back, could they return? Got some news to report on those. And last but not least, night games. Will Michigan be starting the season with 1 or 2 night games? I've got those stories for you and more on the Michigan Football Report right now. Let's talk Dylan McCaffrey, because the long-hyped, certainly famous family, the younger brother of Christian McCaffrey, the third son of Ed McCaffrey, it's a name Michigan football fans have been talking about for about 5 years, since he was a junior, sophomore in high school, and now he's no longer a member of the program. But he is still enrolled at Michigan. He can play in 2020 and transfer as a grad transfer and still go elsewhere if he wanted to. If he does lose the job, which it seems he's convinced he was, play somewhere in 2021 and 2022 because of the NCAA eligibility rules. But is there a chance that he was given incorrect information by either his parents? His dad's a football coach in Northern Colorado. The Michigan football program? Did he not consult with any of them? I don't actually know which one of those is true, but I will tell you that him sitting out makes no sense at all. There's no reason for Dylan McCaffrey to sit this year. Why is that? Let's just say this is a year ago, 2 years ago, 10 years ago, whenever it was. Sitting out would make sense. The normal rules from the previous would make a lot of sense, the previous years, because if he played a snap this year, that means he would lose a year of eligibility. But that is not the case anymore because the NCAA has ruled that this year doesn't count against eligibility for any player. Okay, so it's that he doesn't want to have to transfer and sit out a year. He doesn't want to use a year of eligibility. Whatever it is, it won't matter because he's graduating in December. He can go as a grad transfer. So the two reasons to sit out in any normal year would be, one, to not waste a year of eligibility, and or potentially both in some situations, to not have to sit out a year, right? Neither one of those things count. He can play this season at Michigan, even if he's a second-string quarterback, even if he's the third-string quarterback. Heck, even if he is an assistant coach that just puts on a uniform for game time and starts his post-playing day career, he can play this year. If he graduates in December, he doesn't have to get a special exemption to go anywhere else by any means from anybody, the NCAA, Michigan, anybody like that, and play anywhere he wants in 2021 and 2022. So I think, and I've heard this from a couple people, I don't necessarily know what is true or what is not true, but I've heard this week that the door is still open, that maybe he got incorrect information, that either have to sit out a year or lose a year of eligibility. With neither one of those things true, and him still being in school, and Michigan practice starting in 5 days, as far as I know, next Wednesday, the 30th of the month, Dylan McCaffrey could be a member of this team. I'm not making a prediction that he could, but he's still on campus, and there's no reason for him to sit out. So unless he has no interest in playing football anymore, just wants to graduate and go on with his career, which maybe that's the case, he should enroll back he should become a member of the Michigan football team again. He should back up Joe Milton if that's the case, or heck, why don't you just go and compete for the starting job? Maybe you win it. Maybe McCaffrey gets hurt. Heck, maybe one of the Michigan quarterbacks gets coronavirus, has to sit out a week. You come in, you start. No reason to sit out unless you are just done with football altogether. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet. The Michigan Football Report, we took a few months off. We put some video games out there, but we are back and better than ever. While the blog boys are all quitting their radio jobs and taking jobs as teachers and all this stuff, we are stronger than ever, and it's thanks to you guys. So make sure you subscribe. We don't sugarcoat anything. We don't answer to Jim Harbaugh, so we can give you the raw, unedited truth every single show. Hit that red button below the video. If you happen to watch it later, youtube.com/MichiganTV. If you forget about subscribing, just go to that URL, hit the subscribe button. Keep growing these subs so we can do more shows for you all season long. Nico Collins and Ambry Thomas, fourth-year players in that 2017 recruiting class that seemingly has no players left from it going into their fourth year in the program, which is kind of crazy to think about. Both opted out of the program in the days following the Big Ten coming back and re-engaging with a new schedule that starts October 24th. Both of them decided to opt out. Jalen Mayfield did as well. Prior to that, he's back. Could these two players, we talked about it earlier in the week, They both signed with Drew Rosenhaus, a very well-known agent who, I don't know if Ambry Thomas necessarily matches the kind of the players that Rosenhaus usually goes for. Typically, he tries to go for first round, second round, sometimes third round guys. I don't think Ambry Thomas, without playing this year and improving his stock, is a top 3, even top 4. And frankly, he might even be drafted. I just want to say that. No knock on him. He's had a nice career, but Lavert Hill didn't get drafted. Lavert Hill is a heck of a lot better player than Ambry Thomas in Michigan. So I don't see the reasoning. But here is the latest from Ambry Thomas's mom, Carmen, a quote she made to media this week about his return has been speculated. It's not happening. My baby has graduated from Michigan. Congrats to him. Did it in 3 years. We have our dual degrees. Actually, don't know what that means. They have, two degrees, producer? Yeah, I guess he means he has 2 degrees in 3 years. Congrats to him. No reason for us to return. He's not going back. So, we have some more on this quote coming up in a second. She's got a second part of the quote. But I don't see the reasoning here personally, right? You're going to be a starter. You're going to be on a defense that's put plenty of defense. I mean, if you look on Sundays right now, you're seeing a lot of Michigan defenders make plays. And with Lavert Hill coming back for his senior year and not even get drafted, I think that Ambry Thomas certainly could use the playing time, use the extra film to improve his draft stock. You could be talking about the difference between a $10,000 signing bonus as an undrafted player and millions of dollars. So I don't think it helps him out at all. His mom's got more on this quote. We got more quotes from his mom coming up here in a second. But I want to tell you guys again about our unbelievable offer that got thrown to us a week and a half ago when the Big Ten football came back from our new sportsbook partner, BetUS. I bet every single Saturday and Sunday. You guys know that if you watch the show. If you follow me on Twitter, certainly you know. Want to make sure you guys do it where I do it and get hooked up with the best promo in the game. So, number one, chatsports.com/bet. Drops you right on the sign-up page for BetUS. You use that promo code GOBLUE, you get 125% deposit bonus. What does that mean? You put on your first 100, you get an extra 125, 200, an extra 250, 300, you get an extra 450, and up from there. And if you do it in the next 5-6 days before the end of the month on the 30th, we're going to send you a free jersey. They hooked us up with a ton of gift cards to send you guys jerseys. So if you get going with them, you got to use the URL, chatsports.com/bet. You got to use that promo code when you put your credit card down to put the first deposit. It's got to be promo code GOBLUE. Just type it in there, no spaces. If you do that, it shows up in a report we get every day, and we can then assign a gift card to you, get your information. Once you do it, just email GoBlue@chatsports.com. Said, James, gotta go with BetUS. We'll ask you for some information. We'll get that jersey out to you right after that, after we confirm it. So get going now. Don't sign up with anybody else. And heck, if you've never bet before, nothing to lose here. You put down some money. You got an awesome jersey worth the money you put down, and you can get used to some betting by listening to one of the greatest sports gamblers in the world, yours truly. Continuing on with Ambry Thomas's mom, she says, we're working on Ambry Tavon Thomas, throwing in that middle name, which moms do. We love the team, but we know his weaknesses, and that's what we're working on. He's not returning. What more can you say about that? Except Jalen Mayfield's dad said the same thing. 5 days later, he's back in the team. So people say things. They get contacted by media. Sure, I'll talk to you about Ambry. No, he's not returning. Maybe Drew Rosenhaus says something and was like, hey, they're going to let him be eligible. He really could do some better things. I don't know. As of now, I'm not expecting Ambry Thomas to come back, but I'm not going to go out there on a boat and say I have any inside information. There's not a single person outside of Ambry Thomas, his family, and maybe his agent, and maybe Jim Harbaugh that have any information on whether he will, whether he won't. So just keep an eye on it. We'll put it out there when it happens if there's any news, but as of now, don't expect him to be back on the team. Hasn't been in class from what I've heard also, so there's some academic side of things you have to get in order if he did return. Next up, though, Josh Gattis talked to the media earlier this week, asked extensively about quarterbacks, running backs, wide receiver. We're going to talk over the weekend and early next week about some of the quotes he had on the wide receiving core as a whole this season. But on this show, we're going to talk about this quote he had on Nico Collins himself. Him and Nico. We've had a ton of conversations, very respectful of anyone's personal decision, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. We've done nothing but support him 100%, and I think eventually everyone will be hearing from him. That's Josh Gattis talking to the media on Nico Collins. So what does it mean? I don't know if it means anything, to tell you the truth, but Nico, unlike some other players, including Jalen Mayfield when he's opted out, he's been going to class, but has not been practicing with the team in at least 3 or 4 weeks at this point. So he's at school trying to be on track to get a degree and finish up his academic requirements as he heads out of this semester and on to the NFL, but maybe he thinks he's a first-round pick. I don't think he's a first-round pick from what we've seen. If you compare, think about the first-round picks this last draft. Jerry Jeudy, right? Who am I missing here? Jerry Jeudy, yeah. Henry Ruggs, CeeDee Lamb. All those guys did a lot more in college, a heck of a lot more in college than Nico Collins did. But Josh Gattis knows what he's seeing with those guys. He coached at Alabama when Jeudy and Ruggs were sophomores. So he's got a comparison to Nico Collins, and he may be able to convince Nico, hey, come with me. We'll throw you the ball. We'll make sure we take care of you. Put up 10 touchdowns, put up 1,000 yards. You can get in that first round like Todd McShay recently mocked you to. But nothing to know yet. Nico Collins, we might not find out, heck, until October 24th, honestly. He could show up and just play on October 24th against Minnesota. But practice starts next week. If he's not there, I think it's a pretty good indication that he won't be on this team this year. Next question for you guys. Thinking about Gattis, I just want to get the pulse of the Michigan fan base right now. Snapshot in time. 2020, September 25th, 2020. Who is the better coordinator? Josh Gattis or Don Brown? Certainly Don Brown. It's a lot better track record, longer track record. Better track record in Michigan, to be frank. Neither one of them got it done against Ohio State. And in a lot of ways, neither one of them got it done in the biggest games outside of Gattis really taking it to Notre Dame on the ground last year. But go down in the comments. Type DB if it's Don Brown. Better coordinator right now. Type JG for Josh Gattis. I want to get the pulse of the Michigan fan base as we are now 29 days till game time. 2 night games for the Wolverines? Well, there's some rumors out there, as always, about night games for Michigan football. It seems to be one of the things that drives the fan base conversation every offseason. Whether or not you're going to get 1 night game, 2 night games, 3 night games, I don't really know. But there's a new podcast out there, Blue by 90, that seems to get retweeted by WTKA, former WTKA radio host Michael Spath all the time. Spath having one of the worst track records when it comes to predicting night games. I think 3 straight seasons he's told us what night games are going to be from his sources. Has been comically wrong every single time. But with no fans in the stands, the night games are going to be at the whim and at the discretion of the TV networks, Fox, ESPN, ABC, and the Big Ten Network. So don't necessarily put what every blogger and every Twitter account puts out there about night games out there, but Blue by 90 saying they're hearing from their sources that Minnesota's a night game, and then, of course, Michigan State, which they've had out there, which I talked about earlier in the week. Michigan State, Michigan's home opener, can be a night game. But what do I think about night games? I think they're awesome, okay? Night games are the best at Michigan Stadium, at other stadiums, and maybe it doesn't matter as much in a dome like Minnesota. Is Minnesota still in a dome? I don't even remember. Are they outside now? They're actually outside. Actually, that's a fair. Michigan hasn't played there in 5 years, I think, since 2015 season. So just kind of forgetting in the brain what stadium they're in. But why wouldn't they, play night games? I wouldn't play night game against Minnesota. It might be the best game to start the Big Ten season. Put your best game in prime time. Michigan State the next week, Halloween night. We all remember the last time Michigan played, I think it was Halloween night 2004, the Braylon Edwards games against Michigan State. Notre Dame game last year was awesome. I didn't go to the night game against Middle Tennessee, but I've been to the Notre Dame, the 2011, 2013 one. They're always awesome. So just play more night games and quit being old blue hair complaining about having to stay up late. Play more night games, Michigan, because they're awesome. Make sure you guys subscribe. We talked about it earlier in the show. More subscribers means more videos. We can do post-game shows. We could potentially take you guys on with live callers after games later in the season, just depending on how things go. We crossed 7,000 subscribers during the 6-month Corona shutdown, over 7,000, and now we're trying to get to 10,000 this football season. So make sure to subscribe, youtube.com/Michigan TV. More on the night games. Michigan's had a pretty good track record with them at home. Really bad track record, really forever, certainly under Jim Harbaugh, with night road games against ranked teams, with Minnesota undoubtedly will be October 24th. So last year, remember, 3 night games to the Wolverines, opened up the season on FS1, I think the network was. It was a really strange game. Played Middle Tennessee State at night. Really strong first half for the Wolverines, then kind of second half. Lost at Penn State when they were down huge in the first half. Almost came back. Randy Bell drops it. And then demolished Notre Dame. I think it was the 5th or 6th worst defeat by a top 10 team in college football history. Michigan putting on a 45-14 whooping on Notre Dame last year. So potentially 2 night games to start the season. We'll see how it plays out. I don't think we really know until a week or two prior to the season getting started. But the question for you, which do you like better? Night games or day games? Day games or night games? Type D if it's day. Type N if it is night. I'm going to go night. You can't make every single game a night game, obviously, but I like to have 3, 4, 5 night games a year if I could. If Michigan hosts 2 or 3 at the stadium, plays 1 or 2 on the road, that's good by me. So type D for day, type N for night. Thanks so much for watching today's episode of the Michigan Football Report. While you're here, hit the subscribe button. If you didn't scroll down below the video and hit it, if you didn't type in the URL, now's your time. Just press the button and you're subscribed. You'll know when all of our videos are going out. And if you got more time to watch some of our stuff, got some more videos for you right here. Go Blue.